Premier Sarawak, Profesor Dr. Sim Suraini, KSU, Dr. Kamal, CRM dan tetamu yang saya muliakan. Hari ini tentunya satu perkembangan yang memberansangkan bagi kita di Malaysia dan juga rantau ini, kerana kita akan menyaksikan pembentangan dan juga laporan tentang kejayaan clinical research yang tentunya merupakan di antara keutamaan kita. Apa dia masalah dalam bidang kesihatan? Saya tidak punya kepakaran. Jadi bukan ucap utama. It's not an keynote address. Tapi ialah untuk melontarkan beberapa idea untuk kita fikir dan renung bersama. Hubungan saya dengan kesihatan ini kerana saya dibesarkan di Quarters Hospital Ucapan Tajam dengan ayah bertugas sebagai medical assistant di hospital dan isteri sebagai doktor. Itu saja kepakaran dia. Tetapi tentunya saya dapat menyaksikan profesional dari jururawat, technicians, doktor dan kepakaran yang bertugas dengan passion, dengan keprihatinan yang kuat dan bekerja dengan komitmen yang luar biasa. Kerana latihan itu adalah latihan bekerja, bertugas, mendampingi rakyat dan terutama rakyat yang dalam kesakitan dan derita. Jadi itu yang saya lihat amat mengesankan. Tentunya tidak mewakili semua, tapi hampir ramai sekali golongan dalam profesi perubatan yang dianggap punya sikap yang sedemikian. Jadi bila bicara soal ihsan, soal rahmah, soal mendekati masalah rakyat, mengurangkan kos, memastikan rakyat mendapat kemudahan terbaik, itu tentunya sesuatu yang mudah kita bicarakan dengan keluarga, masyarakat perubatan. Jadi saya kata cabaran kita di antara lain ialah memastikan kos perubatan itu tidak melambung, kerana industri perubatan ini juga boleh membebankan, seperti mana saya lihat dan baca dan nilai dari syarikat besar, keuntungan itu terlalu tinggi tanpa mengingat bahawa ia membebankan pengguna, bukan saja kerajaan tapi pesakit. Sebab itu CRM punya tugas besar. Pertama, untuk pastikan CRM bertugas dalam bidang penyelidikan, clinical trials, dan ada sinergi dengan semua institusi penyelidikan. Dalam syurah Akademi Sains Negara dan Majlis Sains Negara, saya telah memberi arahan yang sangat jelas. Tidak ada satu institusi yang bekerja secara asingan daripada sinergi dengan semua institusi pendidikan. Bermakna keberkesanan CRM itu mestilah seperti mana dilakukan, terima kasih Akmal, dengan kerjasama semua institusi penyelidikan dalam negara dan universiti-universiti tempatan. Tiap fakulti perubatan mesti dirangkul bersama supaya semua kegiatan itu dapat dijalankan secara bersama. Dengan cara ini kita akan pastikan hasilnya itu jauh lebih berkesan. Ya. Kita dah lihat hasilnya sekarang, tetapi kita mahu dalam strategi kerjasama ASEAN supaya kerjasama itu lebih dekat dan mantap. Bermakna pusat-pusat penyelidikan utama dari Phnom Penh ke Vientiane ke Singapura ke Jakarta, Bangkok dan Manila dan sekitarannya itu dapat bekerjasama untuk sama-sama berusaha menjayakan siasatan penyelidikan ini, mengurangkan kos, mendapat penemuan-penemuan baru dan jenis perubatan baru yang boleh diperkenalkan sesuai dengan iklim kita. Saudara tahu dalam tahun 70-an atau 60-an, semasa itu Institute Medical Research, bila mendapat pendampingan dengan pendedahan dengan pakar-pakar antarabangsa di barat, itu keutamaan mereka itu penyakit yang biasa dengan mereka. Jadi apa yang disebutkan industry sponsored clinical research itu terbatas kepada keperluan di barat. Dan saya masih ingat marhum Profesor Dr. Ungku Umar masa itu mengatakan kita harus lihat masalah kita dulu. Apa masalah kita dulu? Cacing kerawit, malaria, batuk kering. Jadi dia alihkan pemusatan IMR itu kepada pesakit sekitar rantau ini, ekuatorial, dan sakit, sementara bicara soal-soal lain yang penting di dunia, tetapi tumpukan tentang masalah yang dihadapi oleh majoriti rakyat di negara kita. Jadi bila membaca masalah IMR masa itu, cacing kerawit, malaria, batuk kering, itu dan saya fikir itu kebijaksanaan dia menangani masalah yang relevan pada masa itu. Ya. Tentunya saudara berfikir juga hal-hal ini bersama dengan permasalahan lain. Dan saya ke Kementerian Kesihatan beberapa ketika lalu untuk menekankan keperluan reform anjakan dalam pemusatan kita supaya pertama pendidikan, keduanya keutamaan perubatan, ubat-ubat, dan ketiganya memastikan jenis ubat generik yang dikemukakan dan tidak bergantung dengan syarikat-syarikat utama dunia yang menggunakan kos yang keterlaluan tingginya. Dan saya ucap terima kasih kerana Kementerian cepat mengambil langkah untuk mengurangkan masalah ini. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is to me an exciting venture. It is critical for this nation. We have to ensure that the public, society at large, benefit from the best facilities. I can recall that some of us, if we are ill, will be given the best treatment in the best centers. But many of us, those in the remote areas, either in Kelantan, or remote Sarawak, or Pahang, will not have such opportunity. The challenge for us, which this passion, is to ensure that the vast majority benefit from the facilities. So to me, I see CRM's role is not just a center for research in isolation. It is part and parcel of the whole Madani framework. A research that must collaborate with all research centers in the country and within ASEAN, and a capable, competitive research ecosystem. Now, of course, the challenge, to new findings, reduce substantially the cost, because, as you know, if you look at macroeconomic policies, I always alert Dr. Zul, please alert your staff not only to know about diseases, but also to understand economic disease, macroeconomic policies. Every ministry, every department, every research center would want, of course, and rightfully so, more allocation. So is the nation. But we have to look at the schools, rural infrastructure, clinics and hospitals. Okay? And these challenges must be met fairly, equally, after understanding the limitations. We can disburse more funds, but we have to tax more. Once we tax more, it becomes a burden, not only to the general public, but also to the doctors. And the doctors are very sensitive group of professionals. I think from the experience of Aziza, I would know that. So that's why the understanding of the macroeconomic policies, limitations must be there. Every single province, every single town, every single village would demand what they consider as fair. But no country, particularly in this state, is able to disburse. So the research, the policy makers in the ministry has to be fully able to grasp what we can within the limited resources to do, to implement or affect change in the most efficient, economically efficient manner. Now, since 2012, clinical research in Malaysia has contributed over 1.5 billion ringgit to our gross national income. And this is, of course, impressive. And more than 3,000 highly skilled jobs. That's what Akmal gave in his report. I'm not sure. You can verify from him later. Now, so every trial conducted here has generated ripple effects, undeniably so. From hospitals to development centers, to data hubs and logistic networks. And now, of course, with digitalization and AI, we need to enhance clinical research. And the collaboration within ASEAN is, to me, extremely remarkable. We are facing somewhat uncertainty with the latest President Trump's pronouncements on tariffs. So we have a choice just to wait or do whatever is necessary within our means, which means, therefore, to collaborate with research to ensure that we affect this change and implement this reform as fast as possible. I gave an example yesterday or the day before when meeting the CRL personnel. There was a decision to clamp, basically by imposing high tariffs to solar panels from Malaysia. Then we checked if the solar panels are made in Malaysia but through Chinese investors. So what do? Do we wait? Okay, we negotiate. We send teams by meeting minister, led by meeting minister, to negotiate. But meanwhile, there are things that we can do. For example, all new hospitals, which is being implemented by the Ministry of Health, all new schools, government buildings, and encourage private sector, use solar panels made in Malaysia. And don't just wait until we face or encounter this problem. Similarly, in the context of medical policies and programs, we need to do likewise. How do we then ensure that there is no waste? How do you ensure that we have the best medicine, cheapest possible, that can reach every single citizen in this country? Now, we allocate more funds, yes. As you know, since I presented the budget Madani, I've given priority to two sectors, education and health. Is it sufficient? No, it is not. But the increase is, to me, meaningful and formidable because within our limited resources, we have given these priorities. Then it's up to the Ministry of Health and the fraternity to be able to wisely plan and ensure that money is well spent. At times we have to deal with this huge problem about inheriting the old structures and systems. You get the same contracts, not competitive, the same cartels, and I've been fighting hard to allow for very competitive through our own ingenuity to try and reduce this cost. So we are working with other countries who will be relatively more successful in terms of research and drugs, not only in the United States or Europe, Japan or China, but also new markets, India, Brazil, Turkey, for example, where we can collaborate. We are fortunate in Malaysia because we have now taken some measures to first strengthen intra-ASEAN collaboration and understanding, which to my mind is unprecedented. Not only is it one of the most peaceful regions in the world, economically most vibrant, but you have this fraternity, comradeship among leaders which can ultimately decide on some very critical ventures, including the more sensitive issues. So please utilize these resources and continue your trials, extending beyond Malaysia to ASEAN, to Asia, but try, reflect on this issue, how to emerge as a source of medical innovations. Of course, as I've said, I need to reiterate, it requires deeper collaboration and stronger regional networks to develop new solutions. Now, so I wish you well, Akmal and the team and the ministry, and thank you for the support, and thank you for being patient in listening to not so much, it's not a keynote address, it's an attempt to try and convince you about the need to support any initiative for reform, effect change at a speed that is unprecedented. I always say this in the last 2 years. We are in the post-normal times. Post-normal times means precisely what? It's chaotic. It is full of contradictions. And it requires human ingenuity to seize the opportunity in this sort of relative destruction that is taking place due to the remarkable progress in technological innovation, including AI and digitalization, climate change, civil wars, and chaos, which requires us to undertake measures with more courage and tenacity and conviction. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.